in mind that Ahsoka, before the Pikes came and took Rafa away to torture, had the ability to break them out of the cell. Right now, Ahsoka has the ability to break them out of the cell. Ahsoka is doing nothing to help these girls right now. Literally, one of them was just like, I might die. And Ahsoka's just like, cool.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to today's reaction video where we just listening to easy listening music and wait for my brain to start working. It may take a while. Who you were does not have to define who you are, which is true. How does that apply to this episode?
Ahsoka Tano has teamed up with the Martez sisters, who live in the underworld of the city planet Coruscant. Struggling to make ends meet, Rafa Martez scored a job running a spice shipment from the planet Kessel. Tempers flared when Ahsoka realized the spice was being sold to the Pikes, a powerful crime syndicate. As Ahsoka and Rafa argued, Trace Martez dumped the spice, hoping to end the dispute. With no shipment to deliver, the three attempted to deceive the Pikes and failed. We now find them imprisoned deep within a fortress on the planet Obadiah.
I actually don't have too much trouble with that summary.
There you go. The one time the narrator doesn't completely
Twist everything.
Things.
Wow. I'm actually shocked.
It only took 7 seasons.
I never figured when I took my ship out for the first time, I'd wind up in a place like this.
Yeah, you have Ahsoka to thank for that.
If she doesn't dump the spice, we finish our job and we're already gone.
Ding!
You dumped the spice.
We wouldn't be here if you hadn't taken the job with the Pikes. The Pikes turned spice into something that ruins lives. So those lives would be on you.
So I think I've mentioned this, in the character growth series and a couple other times, right? But like Rafa blames Trace, and then Ahsoka blames Rafa, and nobody blames Ahsoka.
Of course not.
And instead, Ahsoka starts preaching and pointing out how morally inferior Rafa is.
That's just the way it is. You can't profit from other people's suffering.
That's just the way it is. Yeah, so preachy.
Yeah, so you can't profit from other people's suffering, right? Like, you are responsible because if you deliver this for the Pikes, they use it to ruin people's lives. At the end of this season, Ahsoka frees a crime lord, an ex-Sith crime lord. And what does he do?
He does exactly what she wants him to do. He creates a distraction.
Well, I'm more thinking about after he then escapes from the ship.
Well, I mean,
He goes on to...
because you don't see him again until Rebels, where he's just chilling, apparently.
But doesn't Solo take place after that? Right? And he's in the height of his Black Sun criminal overlordship, ruining people's lives, and Solo has to save them. So Ahsoka does more to help the criminal world ruin people's lives because she literally rescues the crime lord. But here she is, well, if you're just one of the little delivery people on the bottom, that makes you responsible for everything.
Wow.
Okay, so what if you're the bodyguard? You save the life of the person running it all. Where does that put you on the scale of responsibility? Well, that apparently, according to Ahsoka, puts you at the bottom, like zero responsibility at all. Because it was just to save herself, you know? It wasn't about what he might do later. Even though in season 2, Sunube told her that she had to ponder how just being stolen from made her responsible for what that criminal might do. So it's like, again, the messages in this show, they're all over the place. They want to have their cake and eat it too, and it's so twisted. Man, oh man, it's just great.
Will you listen to this? We got a regular Jedi here.
And yeah, the fact that Rafa's like, oh, you're such a Jedi. No, she's nothing like the Jedi. She's just a
It's interesting because in the first episode, Trace is like, oh, you know, the Jedi, they go around starting wars and making everyone's lives miserable. And here Ahsoka is preaching, and she's like, oh, you're such a Jedi.
Yeah,
okay,
no,
so
like,
which
the
is it?
sisters
Are they
don't seem
morally
to have
corrupt, or
any
are
idea
they moral,
of what they think
like...
of the Jedi?
What if I was?
Don't kid around.
Don't kid around. Is that something people do? They kid around about being a Jedi?
No, I don't think that's a thing.
And it's like, they literally harbor so much hatred for Luminara that she's literally like, how could you even joke about being a Jedi? Like, that's just the worst thing you could do. Okay.
You didn't tell her, did you?
Tell me what?
About why Trace and I keep our distance from the Jedi. Or any topsiders for that matter.
It's not a choice. You're not voluntarily keeping your distance from the Jedi. You're in the lower levels, they're in the upper levels.
Right. That was Trace's whole point. That the Jedi don't come down and do anything about what's going on in the lower levels. And now Rafa's like, no, we purposely stay in the lower levels because we're staying away from them Jedi and topsiders. Because for some reason we have a problem with the topsiders too now. And we just like
She never
being
said anything about topsiders before.
After Ahsoka said she was a topsider,
And-
Trace didn't have a problem with
No.
that.
What the hell? Wow, the Martez sisters might just be
Completely on different
the
pages.
most inconsistent characters we have seen in this entire show so far, and that's quite a high bar.
I mean, it's Rafa who's saying they stay away from topsiders, not Trace. But it's like they're portrayed as. I mean, like I guess they're not portrayed as being on the same page, because yeah, Trace is kind of like, oh, Rafa, you shouldn't be doing all these things. But it's like,
It's
just
they
so
definitely agree on the
incongruent.
Jedi.
There was a prison break on the surface of Coruscant. Some gangster named Zero. Some red-eyed alien blasted the engine of an ascending cargo transport.
how does she know who all was involved? I guess it makes sense.
I guess word would spread after the fact.
But she doesn't
Yeah,
know who
but she
Cad
doesn't-
Bane
yeah.
is.
There was a populated landing platform right in the path of the ship, but the Jedi steered it clear of that, right into the portal wall. And on the other side of that wall was our home. Afterward, the Jedi came back and one of them came over to me. She said, I had to make a choice, but not to worry. The Force will be with you. And Trace and I were left without parents, without a home.
So what does she want the Jedi to do? Because she's not mad at them that they didn't do anything. She's mad at them that they saved the lives of tons of people, but their parents died instead.
I think they more so take issue with the fact that afterward Luminara was like, hey, shit happens.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, but like...
I can't remember who made this critique before, but yeah, like the way Rafa talks here is so unnatural.
Yeah, why is she just so open about all of this?
She's
and the
being,
fact that she's
so
like
eloquent
exposition-y.
in her language.
Yeah,
like,
it's very
so
exposition-y.
flowery.
Leaping from speeder to speeder as they went, the ship went spiraling out of control. The Jedi went into action. I'll never forget it. She was beautiful. Dark robes contrasting against her light green skin, penetrating eyes.
This, I absolutely see what it's just very flowery, and it's like, why did Filoni, because Filoni wrote these episodes, why did Filoni choose to specify Luminara instead of just saying one of the Jedi came over to me and she said blah 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 blah? But no,
he's playing
I'll
to the fans.
never forget
He's
it.
playing to the fans because
Beautiful
they hate
dark
Luminara.
robes contrasting against her light green skin. A, nobody talks like that.
Yeah.
And B, why are you specifying Luminara, throwing her under the bus?
Like I said, playing to the fans because they hate Luminara.
Because of him, because he threw Barriss under the bus, and then everyone's like, well, because there's no reason for this, let's blame Luminara.
Because so many people ignore how Luminara is actually acting in that scene. Because she's very emotional. And she's clearly not A-okay with letting Barriss go. But everyone paints her as like this horrible, unfeeling, cruel master. And like, where did you get that from?
It's like, okay, if you don't agree with what this person believes, okay, I don't agree with the Jedi teachings either, but like, she's not being a terrible person in that moment. She's simply being okay with loss. What's so bad about that?
And
Right?
like, you look at the way fans worship Anakin. Anakin was terrible. He was a bad person.
He literally kills
Like you
children.
literally see videos out there. Oh, Anakin was right all along, and Anakin's like a true hero. And
No. And I mean, like, I'm not gonna dump on Anakin because he was a bad Jedi, because it's like, well, I don't really get the impression he really wanted to be a Jedi. But, like, Luminara, like, she is a Jedi. She wants to be a Jedi. She believes these things. She practices what she believes. It's like, we dump on people who don't practice what they believe, and then you dump on people who do practice what they believe, and it's like, okay, so what do you want from people?
they don't know.
Like,
They don't even know, because the writers are just bing, 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 bing.
I mean, like, as long as your beliefs aren't hurting anybody, which again, Luminara was not hurting anybody by being okay with someone dying. That's just life. People die. And if anything, it's really healthy to be okay with that. But it's like, it's one of those problems, again, like, because the audience knows that Barriss and Ahsoka are alive, and Anakin's like, no, we have to help them. Then they dump on Luminara because, well, she should know that they're alive and they can be rescued.
This is why no one blinks when characters are just randomly omniscient throughout the show, because, like, they expect that. It's like, oh, of course they should know this stuff. The character should know everything the audience knows.
It's like,
No. It's not how writing works.
and like, I think I've mentioned, I think it was in our analysis video, because we were being more analytical then, but yeah, that dynamic, that contrast between the way Luminara is and the way Anakin is in that episode is really interesting. Mm-hmm. Right? You get to see their different characters, and it's just the way they play off each other. And yeah, seeing Luminara living out the Jedi practices is really good. And then seeing Anakin, you know, his flaws, how he can't live within the Jedi beliefs, right? Because he can't let go, right? And so that is part of his character. That leads to his downfall. Like, that was really actually quite well done. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and the fans see that and they're like, well, Luminara is the worst person ever. And my thoughts are all gone now. And we've talked about this long enough anyways, but like, question still remains. Why does he specify Luminara and dump on her? At the cost of natural dialogue. Penetrating eyes? Really? Like, are you in love with her? Like, is that him trying to queer code the girls? Or at least Rafa? If you hate someone, you don't describe them that way. You're like, that ugly green, monster, right? Like,
Mom and Dad saw it coming. They got Rafa and I out, but they weren't so lucky.
I've mentioned this before. I don't know whether it was on screen or not, but like, did the parents go back inside? How did they get Rafa and Trace out? And again, this is like, what, less than 3 years ago? Like, I think that's why I thought they were so much younger when it happened, because I didn't put 2 and 2 together. But it's because they say, oh, our parents got us out. Which implies, the parent carrying their child to safety instead of being hey, grown-up children of ours,
Get
let's
yourselves
get
out. Like, what's
out.
wrong with your legs?
Yeah, and then in either way, it's like, if they got them out, then how were they then caught in it?
Exactly.
Unless they went back inside or something. It doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, if mom and dad saw it coming and they warned us and we got out, but they didn't. That makes sense. But no, they got us out, but they didn't get out somehow?
The Jedi didn't even capture Zero. The distraction of the ship helped him get away.
Yeah, in the subtitles they've got the distraction in quotation. Like, she doesn't take it seriously. Like, oh, it was just a distraction, right? Like, if they didn't even get Zero, but they saved so many lives. What did you want them to do?
And Trace and I were left without parents, without a home. Just left there to find our way in their system.
Their system? It's not their system.
It's the Republic.
We make our own rules and we survive just fine. That is until Trace let you tag along.
Valid.
I'm so sorry.
Wow, she actually apologized.
Amazing.
But I kind of get the impression that she's not apologizing for her role in ruining the sister's job. I think she's apologizing for the Jedi being jerks. Because she doesn't really take responsibility. Like, later, we don't see her take responsibility for how they got into this situation. So I don't think she's apologizing for that.
If I die, you get the family business.
They left us with nothing. You get the family business. I forgot about that. They have a family business. Yes, they don't have their parents and they don't have a home. Those are huge. But the family business would pay for a home. And then, yeah, she's building up stuff on the side too. Well, that's unfortunately shady, but like...
We never really, like, see a proper home for the sisters.
No, but they don't really
like,
have time to show it either.
True. Because, like, they spend, like, most of their time in that hangar with the Silver Angel.
We see the laundromat.
Yeah, we see the
which is the
laundromat.
family business. No, that's not the family business. No, I remember that now. She wanted gambling. So I guess she's saying that all of her business is now the family business. So what? So, okay. She mixed me up there. I think she's just kind of coding, like, okay, you get the laundromat and you get all the shady stuff I've been doing on the side. It's all yours.
You're not touching her.
Take her instead.
And she's fine! Perfectly fine!
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow. So keep in mind that Ahsoka, before the Pikes came and took Rafa away to torture, had the ability to break them out of the cell. Right now, Ahsoka has the ability to break them out of the cell. Ahsoka is doing nothing to help these girls. Right now. Literally, one of them was just like, I might die. And Ahsoka's just like, cool.
Oh, wow.
So again, it's like, does she think other people have as much plot armor as she does? Right? She's not at all concerned about going to help Rafa. And the whole reason she came along was to keep you two out of trouble.
Literally, they just have her do this so they can stretch the shit out of this stupid arc.
That is so creepy.
Yeah.
Since that day, it's really been us versus everyone else.
Until some rando crashed on your platform and you're like, please stay with me! Please! I'll fix your bike for free! Just stay!
So why'd you bother with me? It's something my mother would have done. She always believed in helping others. This life I have, it's not how I was raised.
So then the question is, like, was Rafa raised by a different mother? I mean, like, I know there's, nature versus nurture, and parents can do their absolute best, and kids just turn out how they turn out to an extent. But, like, there's definitely a lot to be said for a parent's influence. And I just don't understand how Trace was so well influenced and Rafa is just nope, after the bunch.
Again, like, Rafa had to take the brunt of it, right? Because she was the older sibling. So it would have hit her harder than it would have hit Trace. Because, my parents are dead. It's all down to me. I have to look after Trace on my own.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know, I feel like it could have been balanced a little better. It just seems weird.
Everything about this is weird.
Maybe I'm just being too critical.
Let her go!
Wow. What we've seen...
That worked so well the first time. Here, I'll try it again. Oh wow, the same thing happened. She never learns for anything.
Given what we've seen Ahsoka go up against, these guys should be nothing to her.
Exactly.
But she's just like, and it's like,
because she refuses to use. She's making a choice right now.
Yes.
She is making a choice.
She's putting her comfort, because she doesn't want the girls to not like her because she's a Jedi. She's putting her comfort over the sisters' well-being.
They won't fix my bike for free if I tell them.
Yeah, basically, like, she's putting herself first here.
Yep. 100%.
And it's just like, really? This is selfless...
what the Jedi should be.
Trace, for once here, actually does something pretty smart and ballsy. Like,
Yeah.
I would expect that from Rafa.
Yeah, exactly. There is no characterization for these two sisters.
No, like...
They're
They
just all over the place all the time.
Trace successfully takes down these two guys that Ahsoka couldn't handle. Whereas the regular everyday thugs from the Coruscant underworld, she couldn't handle them, and Ahsoka just dance fought her way.
Trace should have, like, after they dragged off Rafa, Trace should have been pissed at Ahsoka. Like, why didn't you beat them up like you did Pinto's thugs?
Yeah.
Why did you do nothing? She should have been pissed.
Mind you, when they dragged off Rafa, Ahsoka was on the ground because Rafa had pushed her into the guys and they'd zapped her. And she fell to the floor like a little wilted flower. And it was perfectly fine a second after Rafa disappeared. So I can understand Trace not being mad in that moment. But, like, again, it's kind of... It's season 3, episode 6 all over again. The kids, like, get gently pushed and they go, oh, I'm down, I'm helpless. And then 5-10 minutes later, episode time, then they just go, on top of the guards, and the guards fall down.
Yep.
And it's like...
The power scaling in this show is the absolute worst.
There is none. It's everything for the sake of plot.
Yes, everything for the sake of plot.
Okay, glad these guys are terrible shots.
Everyone in this show is a terrible shot, unless they need to be.
I'm gonna get one shot at this.
And then, yeah, easy peasy, opens the door. What do you mean, one shot at this? Because we say the Jedi never use the Force in this show, so I guess she's maxed out her quota for this episode.
I think she's saying if they get caught trying to escape, she's not going to be able to pull the same trick again. I think
But
that's
why
what
not?
I'm not entirely sure.
There is no reason! Just so they can
But it's like, why would she wait? Because Trace isn't there, and she waits until after she's done it to wake up Rafa.
Rafa! I don't know where the spice is!
Which then takes away valuable time. Like, what if Rafa didn't rouse instantly? Now she has to drag Rafa, like, make sure Rafa's awake, and then do it. But she can't do that because she can't let them see. Which, again, she's putting herself first still in this moment. I'm actually impressed that for, like, at least the first 2 seconds there, Rafa was actually displaying some sort of lingering effect from the torture that she received.
Wow.
That's not bad.
I think there was a power outage, and the energy field turned off.
And energy, all lights did. Why is she screaming?
I feel like they're really trying to reference Han Solo in that moment. Because, yeah, he runs down the hall, and he's all gung-ho, and then he comes back screaming.
Where is Ahsoka running? Like,
Yeah, they don't even know their way around.
she saw a bunch of guards run past. We don't actually see her see Trace run past. So it's like, does she know that the guards were running after Trace? Does she know that Trace is not currently being tortured and she's just kind of hoping they run into her?
Yeah,
But
like,
she doesn't
it's
know where
so
anything
much
is, so she can't, like, run to the torture room to go save Trace. But she makes no mention of... Actually, no. Rafa asked, where's Trace?
Where's Trace?
They took her.
And then,
again,
she said they took her. She doesn't say, oh, I just saw her ran past. Like, she's trying to get out. Like, she said they took her. So for all she knows, Trace is being tortured right now.
It's the academy all over again. She tries to escape with one, and then conveniently the others, or in this case Trace, just show up. And yeah, it just perfectly works out, just so. Complete BS and contrivance.
We came to rescue you.
No! I was on my way to break you two out.
This way.
No, this way.
They're trying so hard to be funny and get a laugh out of the audience. This isn't funny. This is just stupid.
It should be like, oh crap, you're okay. Like, oh my goodness, you're okay. Like, how'd you get it? Well, that's not important. Like, which way do we go? Well, this way, that way. Let's go this way. And then they're moving much sooner rather than waiting until the guys with guns catch up to them. Which raises another question. Why didn't the guys with guns just start shooting at them when they were at the end of the hallway instead of waiting till they caught up with them?
This way.
No, this way. Tiebreaker, come on.
Ranged weapons have a range for a reason. You utilize the tool that you have.
And they can't freaking open the door?
Nope, apparently not.
Trace, careful! You see that? Come on, Ahsoka!
Why is no one shooting at them?
They have this pause where the bad guys do nothing so that they can have this humor moment.
Wait, where'd she go? She didn't make it. That's terrible.
Ahsoka!
How'd you do that? I'm more athletic than I look.
And it's like,
and that
it's
stupid
not
line.
funny at all.
No, stop trying so hard. You're not funny. You're not funny. But yeah, like that stupid line from Ahsoka. Oh, I'm more athletic than I look. You look athletic. What are you on about?
Like, she looks about as athletic as the two girls there. They all look around kind of the same.
Yeah, they do kind of all have like the same body type.
We don't have time to discuss this. Let's go.
These guys are standing still. Those girls are running a straight line. There should be no reason that these guys are missing as badly as they are.
Yeah.
And they are. Which goes back to the season 5 finale when she was running away.
Mm-hmm.
She's running in a straight line. And
somehow no one hits her.
You'd think these pikes have never pulled a fast one or had a fast one pulled on them. When you're trying to make a living, you don't really think of the possible torture or execution part of the deal.
Because it's not part of the deal.
No.
You do your job, you get paid, you go on your merry way.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're dealing with idiots. And then she's like, oh, you think that they never pulled a fast one or had a fast one pulled on that? Well, if they pulled a fast one, they don't care because they got the good end of the deal. If they had a fast one pulled on them, I'm sure they probably responded the exact same way.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do when you get double-crossed.
Mm-hmm. Good boy.
And, you have all the power to do something about it.
The Pikes aren't gonna let us get off this planet. Their reputation is at stake.
Like, their reputation is at stake. Who's gonna spread the word about this? Who?
Well, no, I do see that one.
You go disable the gates while Trace and I distract the guards.
That must mean you think disabling the gate is the difficult part.
It's one of those things that it's like, disabling the gate is the part that needs to happen for them to escape. So if anything, Rafa's kind of showing trust in Ahsoka right now that she can actually do it, right?
Yeah, true.
So technically Ahsoka's right. Rafa's like, okay, that's the hard part, and I need that to happen, so Ahsoka, you do that. And then Ahsoka just snottily rubs it in her face. It's like, wow, the humility and, being the bigger person,
No, she doesn't
it's not a
understand that
concept that Ahsoka understands.
Nope.
Looks like you two are getting along better.
What?
What?
What part of that interaction made you think that? Of all things.
Right, because her tone doesn't sound like she's being sarcastic. Her tone sounds like, wow, you two are getting along better.
Oh, time for some showboating.
Yeah. No, earlier she couldn't do anything, and now it's all like, I'm so cool.
You go disable the gates while Trace and I distract the guards.
Why do they need to distract the guards? Wouldn't you want to not draw attention to yourself? If there's someone in this room or whatever sounded an alarm, then I could see you distracting the guards so that they don't all get up on her. But until that point, why would you draw attention to yourself? If anything, it's like, you open the gate and then the guards out here are like, well, why'd the gate open? And then it'll send somebody to check. And then when they're that's the distraction. And then you maybe beat up one or two to get out, but the Pikes will never let us get off this planet. Their reputation is at stake. Cue the next scene.
We're just going for a stroll.
Urgency, 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 nothing.
No urgency.
You might be cut out for this life, but I'm not sure about Trace.
Okay, what do you suggest? What should she do instead? Where should she go? Oh yeah, she can't go anywhere.
Especially now that she has a target on her back from a powerful crime syndicate.
Yeah.
Maybe she would have had a chance if she'd gotten that nice payday.
Yeah, the one that you sabotaged. But we're not gonna talk about that.
Mind you, she is a gambler, so it becomes a question of, okay, does she crave this lifestyle? So even if she did get that payday, that could propel her out of that lifestyle. Would she take it and use it that way, or would she continue in it and just use that money to invest further into, right? Because that's a valid...
Sure.
But Ahsoka's kind of suggesting here that Rafa is cut out for this lifestyle. This is Rafa's choice. This is who she is. And, maybe it's a valid assumption to make, because... as I said, Trace is over here and Rafa's over here for some reason. You're like, okay, well, why was this the path that Rafa chose to take care of Trace? It comes down to, you just have to speculate. I could come up with a dozen reasons. Rafa was just doing her best or whatever. These were the only options available to her at the time. And I could come up with a dozen reasons. Oh, well, no, she would have had other options and, she could have done something better. But it's all speculation. And it just comes down to how you want to view the character. When we're relying solely on what is actually presented, what is said, what is not said, what is done, what is not done, then it's like you're just left wondering.
Yeah, again, this vague writing from Filoni.
If she doesn't want to be involved with the jobs I do, she can say so.
And again, that's kind of valid. If anything, Trace was mad at the beginning that Rafa didn't ask her. Mm-hmm. And so it's actually, if anything, that Ahsoka's kind of ignoring that. She's you're dragging her into this. It's Trace, no, she was trying to keep her out of it, but Trace was dying to get in. Again, it's one of those things that there's this inconsistent, because Rafa, instead of responding, hey, I've been trying to keep her out of it, but then again, at the same time, she's been trying to keep her out of this part of it, but she wasn't she was in here you have to build these robots and stuff like that. So in that sense, she was not trying to keep her out of it. She was kind of dragging her into it. So yeah, no, that's kind of weird then. Again, where's Rafa's line? On the one hand, she didn't want to take Trace for this because she wasn't sure about her flying ability or her ship. So in that sense, yeah, it's pretty consistent that Rafa's kind of been dragging her in and utilizing her skills. Okay, so scratch that. That's valid.
She'd never think you don't have her best interest at heart.
And I have such a problem with that line because it's implying you don't have her best interests at heart.
Again, who do you think has been keeping Trace afloat this whole time? Who's been helping her pursue her dream by building her ship?
Yeah.
And on and on and on.
It's like you can have like good intentions and bad outcomes, right? Because you're trying to do the right thing.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah. So if anything, it's like Rafa does have Trace's best interests at heart, but Rafa's, kind of unintentionally or intentionally, whatever. Like, I think it's more unintentional. She's pulling Trace down this shady road.
Yeah.
Right? But Ahsoka's like, no, you're not thinking about what's best for her. She's implying that Rafa is intentionally ruining Trace's life, doing all these bad things and bringing her into them. And it's like, it's more of Ahsoka assuming the worst about people, right? Instead of being like, hey, I'm sure you have her best interests in mind, but like, think about what this is, how this is actually affecting Trace's life. Mm-hmm. No, she starts with, she would never guess what I have seen that you don't have her best interests at heart. Because, she's your sister. Of course she's going to think the best of you, but I don't.
Wow.
Got any credits? I need something to eat.
Do I look like I have credits?
She does look like she has credit. Mind you, he looks like he's... Like, again, it's like, they don't look slummy.
Yeah.
They look clean.
Get out of here. Come on, let's go.
When you find people who need your help, you help them. No matter what.
But not that guy that we just talked to.
I never even thought of that. But the fact that they literally have that moment of someone asking for help, and then Ahsoka doesn't even say anything, and Rafa's like, buzz off. And then Ahsoka's like, oh, I guess it's just who I am.
I guess it's just who I am.
It's like, really? And then I've mentioned before in, I believe it was the character growth series, that Ahsoka is using this to manipulate Rafa. She's taken information that Trace opened up about their mother, and then she's putting it on herself and being like, well, this is just who I am, and I know this will affect you, and it works.
I knew someone who used to talk like you.
Yeah, Trace told me.
At least she's open about the fact that, she got that information from Trace, but it doesn't negate how she just utilized the information.
Yeah.
You guys got any credits?
No, get out of here.
I love how they
so much contrivance.
He's like very clearly like hold instead of like, okay, get out, like putting his hand down or like turning it, right? Like it's kind of more natural to be like, okay, get out of here rather than get out of here. And then the other thing is that they're saying get out of here instead of, hey, have you seen these people?
Yeah, why not just have him say, oh my goodness.
Why would you tell a possible informant, you're canvassing, you're asking everyone, and then someone comes up to you, and you're like, get out of here!
Oh my gosh. What is this?
We're not gonna ask you! No, he literally, oh my goodness, the way it's not just like, oh, I happen to be holding it, and as I turn, it's like, he shoves it in his face!
Get out of here.
Oh my
What is this? There she is.
Also weird that the Pikes just leave the ship. Like, why wouldn't they hang on to it or like...
Well, they might be. That might be part,
But if I recall, no one's watching it or anything.
I don't remember. We'll have to wait.
Because they never do actually get to it.
And then, they're just, yay. There's no rush. There's no... they're literally just standing around.
There they are.
Wait, it changed.
It did.
Ahsoka used to be in the middle. And then they changed it so that it would line up with how the girls are standing now. Why? Why not just have the girls stand in the way that you had to think? Or why does it have to match?
I mean, like, I get that it is kind of a cool little visual thing, but then just have it that way the first time. What's so hard?
Now they're shooting even with all these people in the way. I mean, I guess they don't care about collateral damage, but like...
Oh, he couldn't go around, I guess.
No.
Oh no, this ship is directly in my... This literally makes me think of Dr. Seuss, the guys who were walking along and they ran into each other and they're like, I'm not gonna go one step out of line, you better move. No, I'm not gonna go one step out of line, you better move.
I will not move the least to the east. I will not take one step to the west.
What is this? And she just ditches. I'm out of here.
And again, this is right after if someone needs your help, you help them.
Mm-hmm.
That's just who I am.
No matter the cost.
No matter the cost. That's just who I am. And it's like, I know she's planning to come back. But still, wouldn't it be a lot easier to use the Force and beat up these 10 guys here? Not even 10, maybe 7? Which is a number she's taken on before with ease. I mean, heck,
She
there was
literally
like...
took on that number in this episode.
Yeah! And so it's like, wouldn't that be way easier than breaking back into the stronghold?
Exactly.
Where there's tons more of these guys.
Again.
And then you have to break back out of the stronghold.
Again, she always comes up with the stupidest solutions.
Like, literally, all she... Force push.
Yeah.
Okay, girls, let's go.
But oh no, she doesn't want to hurt their feelings.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't want to be uncomfortable.
It could be the Jedi I met on Karlak. Let's keep track of her. She could be of use to us.
Let's say it's been a year, and Ahsoka was that memorable. I mean, I guess she did. Like, but she's looks completely different.
Exactly.
She's not using any Force powers. That comment would make more sense if Ahsoka just, beat up all those guys, but instead, oh, I'm gonna run away, and I think that's the Jedi that, definitely tried to take all of us on because we were hurting innocents. Now she's just running away to save herself.
Oh,
that's definitely the same person.
Oh yeah, totally.
I can tell because there's no other Togruta in the galaxy that could look similar to that. And she just seared herself in my mind that, like, I can tell it's the same person.
Your little friend is still in the city.
I love how they stopped chasing Ahsoka. Like, she went around the corner and they're like, well, I guess she's gone. Or maybe they did continue chasing, but she lost her.
Who, a speeder pulls in front of them and they can't just go around. So yeah, they give up very easily.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, like, it's probable that they've still got guys out there looking for her, but she gave them the slip.
Did you honestly think you get away with fooling a Pike?
Well, I mean, we wouldn't have tried if we didn't think.
Silence!
Rafa, really? With the response?
Oh, yeah.
So stupid. Worst guard ever.
She gave him a hug and he passed down. Oh,
well,
God.
no, he just couldn't see her coming at a peripheral. Maybe they don't have peripheral vision because of their species, but it's. I'm thinking like Hylian guards here.
Well, they do kind of. They do kind of have those helmets on.
Ahsoka! Oh, nobody saw her? They're in a circle around Rafa and Trace.
Execute them and be done with it.
I knew keeping them in the open would draw you out.
They weren't in the open. Brought them back to the stronghold, and then you were about to execute them. What if she was still, like, running to save her own How did he know that she would come back for them? How have they gotten that impression?
If the Pikes knew she was a Jedi, then yes, that would make sense, but they don't know that!
And given, up until now, she's not really done much by way of protecting them. I mean, like when they first came to get Rafa, like she went in front and then Rafa shoved her into them. So you'd think, okay, clearly these people don't have the best relationship. Mm-hmm. So how could you count on the fact that she would...
And the fact that she ran away when they recaptured the girls.
Yeah.
This is so
I knew you'd come back
stupid.
because you ran away when they were caught and you weren't.
This is literally making me think of the Thor Love and Thunder movie.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
I didn't watch it either, but I heard some things. Basically, the antagonist thinks that Asgardians are all like selfish and blah blah blah. And then he kidnaps Jane, I think it was. And then his whole plan is that he banks on Thor coming to rescue her. So it's a complete contradiction! I hate Disney's writing. It sucks.
You planning on torturing us again?
Until you give me my spice.
You don't need all of them for that.
No, he literally just said, execute these two, we'll just torture the third.
Execute them and be done with it. Your little friend is still in the city. I'll torture her and find out everything we need to know.
And then she comes out, oh, they were just bait. We're not actually going to kill them for some reason.
Oh. Eat it.
I never should have taken this job.
It would have been fine if not for Ahsoka.
We live and learn, Rafa.
Shut up.
Yeah, the fact that she's just like, that's right, I am morally superior. But don't worry, you can do better.
Oh.
It's like...
Eat it.
Because, yeah, I say explicitly in the Character Growth series, you know, she says this line, it's like, okay, maybe, you know, people do that, but you don't. She does not learn. She does not grow. But that's the end of this episode. So...
There you go. Follow the instruction manual.
We're done. Bye.